Let's start talking about more complicated shapes, and today we're going to start with circles. The general equation for a circle is as follows: x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And hopefully you see a couple similar letters of characteristics we've seen in other graphs previously. In this case we have h and k. And in the other graphs that we've done, h and k make up the vertex or the starting point. On a circle, the starting point is called the center. So the center is going to be made up of h comma k, whatever those numbers are. But just like as before, any number we pulled out of the parentheses or out of the symbol became opposite. And you notice on this one, both h and k are inside parentheses, so both are going to get opposite signs. So we're going to make a little note of that down here, both opposite signs. So like if we see a -3 in there, we're going to pull out a +3, or if we see a +2, we'll pull out a -2. The other piece we need to talk about is over here. In regards to circle, R stands for radius. One thing I want you to notice up here is this is the radius squared. So in order to get the regular radius, we need to take that number that they give us and square root it. Alright, so whatever that number is, we're going to square root it. So just looking at the equation, from now on, anytime I see a setup like this, where it's one set of parentheses, squared, plus another set, squared, equals a number, this is going to give us the equation for a circle. Alright, so let's tie this in to our first example here. They're going to ask us to graph the following equation: x plus 3 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 9. And that's going to give us all the information we need to actually graph this circle. And we'll see why it creates a circle in a second. Alright, so the way we want to start this is by finding the center first, the starting point. That center is made up of hk. Now h is always the one that's connected to the x. So sometimes they may put these out of order. They may put the y parentheses first and the x parentheses second. So we need to locate where the x is. So in this case the x is first. So the h is right here. We see a +3, but when we take it out of the parentheses, we need to write it as the opposite. So that's actually going to become a -3. As for the k value, that's connected to the y, I see a -1. We're going to rewrite that as a +1. So we actually have enough information to start graphing now. Alright, so my center is going to be at -3, +1. So -3 is 3 to the left and 1 up. That's going to be my center right there. Now we have the center of the circle. The other thing we're going to need is the radius. The radius is found using the number all by itself over here. So remember, just like as before, that's giving us the radius squared. That number represents the radius squared. So in order to get the actual radius, we need to take the square root of that number. So the square root of 9 luckily comes out to a 3. We don't need plus or minus because we don't have negative distance when we're graphing shapes. We just want the positive value. So my radius is 3. And if we think about a circle, you have a center, and then every point is a distance of the radius around that center. So a distance of 3 everywhere. Now we can put it 3 to the left, 3 to the right, 3 up, and 3 down, and then we'll connect those the best we can to make a circle. So let's go 3 in every direction. And I'm actually going to need a few more lines over here. I'm going to need to go 3 out. Alright, and actually 3 up. So we're going to go 3 in every direction. So 1, 2, 3 puts us right there, and 3 up, 1, 2, 3. And we won't need to draw these little marks every single time. We can just count them out. But for right now, because it's going to help us, so we went 3 in every direction. Now we could do it in the other directions, kind of in between, but it's not going to give us the best because we're graphing it by hand. Now what we want to do is now connect this And I'm going to draw it a couple times just so it comes out to a nice circular shape. We have ourselves a circle. Okay, so from the center, we connect those points and it makes a circle shape like we were trying to do. All right, if you don't get it on the first try, just keep going a couple times and that nice circles out. So we are going to see circles in different places, circles with different sizes, all depending on the numbers that they give us. So let's try another one. Let's say they give us y plus 4 squared plus x minus 2 squared equals 25, and they want us to graph it. So again, we want to start with the center of the circle. The center is given by hk. And remember, h is always with the x. So if I get a little sloppy and just say x is always going to be that first number, not quite true this time. X is over here. So this is my h value, where this one over here is going to be my k. H always goes with x, k goes with y. So when we're writing this actual point, h, I see negative 2, it's really going to be rewritten as positive 2. On the other hand, we see a positive 4, so it's going to be written as a negative 4. If you want to go ahead and knock out the radius right now, we can do that too. Radius, I see 25, we got to square root that. So my radius is actually going to be 5. So we're going to need to go 5 in every direction for this one. So we can go ahead and create a graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So graphing wise, go positive 2, negative 4. So 2 right, 1, 2, 3, 4 down. So that is the center of my circle. And now I'll also want to go 5 in all 4 directions to give us that nice circular shape. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 up should put us right about there. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. I've run out of room on my graph. But there we go. And then we do our best to circle this up. And there we go. Okay, so we have a circle that's centered in quadrant 4 with a radius of 5. All right, so nothing real tricky about these ones. We can try a couple more. Okay. Let's go ahead and graph the following. Okay. Let's go x minus 1 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals yeah, let's go with it. 16. All right, so we're starting to see the patterns to these. The center is going to be HK, and H is located next to X. So actually this one's going to be H. Here's K, but we need to write it as the opposite. So we're going to have a positive 1 and a negative 3. Radius, taking the square root of this, would be a 4. So you see as we go through this, it goes a little bit faster each time. We actually have all the information we need to graph it. Okay, center at positive 1, negative 3. So again, puts us in quadrant 4. And then we need to go 4 in every direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4 up, 4 over, 4 back, and 1, 2, 3, 4 down, and I'm guesstimating that one, and go ahead and circle it up. Okay, so let's go with one last one. I'll throw a little tricky one at you to see how you do. Let's say that they told us to graph x squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 4. Okay, so let's just work it like normal. We're trying to find the center of the circle. Center is always h comma k. H is located next to x, but this time we don't even have parentheses there. There's no number inside, there's no parentheses. So what would actually happen is if you wanted to put parentheses, you could. It would look like this, and then you kind of see that there is no number in there, but we still need to write something. Because k, we see, would be a positive 3, but we still need a number here for x. If it doesn't show up, if there's no parentheses there, it is a 0. So if there is no number connected to the x or no number connected to the y, just write it as a 0 because we still need that value there. So if you really wanted to know, it would be x plus 0, whole thing squared. Okay, it would really look like that. So that was the tricky part of it. As for the radius, just got to make sure you take the square root of that number over there, and the square root of 4 is 2. There we go, we have enough information. We just happen to have a 0 on it this time. Alright, 0, 3. So 0, 3 puts us up here. There's my center, and then we need to go 2 in every direction. So not too far, 2 over here, 2 over here, 2 down, and then I'm going to go 2 up. It's hanging off my graph a little bit. Then we go ahead and connect those with a circle. So we happen to have something that is on the axis, but still a circle. Alright, so things to look forward to. Anytime you have two sets of parentheses squared and they're being added to each other, that is going to create a circle.